kind of substitute the Xin Zhao for loads of champions in this meta at the moment, in the early game, and the level of impact they can have, and things don't really change. I think this has just been born this way, not having the performance that he needs to have in the early game. And some of that, whilst yes, you can say maybe it is directly born this way, but also there's something to be said of, is it to do with communication from the lane states? Is it to do with laners saying, okay, we just don't want to be ganked right now? Or what is going on in terms of how things are being set up in communication for Rate? Because right now it seems like there is no kind of, duo working together to get something done.
Jinx is going to be removed, just as we've seen in the previous one. Ari as well. They need to take that control and that confidence away from Fatty P as well. So there's the usual plans. On the other side, you take away the Swine, you take away the Lee Sin. Do you leave the Hecarim available? Because that is something that we've seen so far, the Hecarim being removed. Hecarim is in a stable position, I would say. So that could be a first one. But it's going to be the Karma. So far has been dealing a lot of issues for Raid. So they're going to remove that one as well.
Will they go for that though? Because I feel like if they go for the Hecarim, the issue is you just immediately have to run into a Volley Baron in the early game. That just doesn't really work. So that's born this way now. Maybe actually say, okay, we'll take that jungle trade ourselves. Allows Victor to pick up the Hecarim because we know we'll have the winning jungle matchup in that case. Or will they just default to Xin Zhao? And I mean, it seems like they are just going to default to Xin Zhao. And now for Lightside, okay, sure, picking up the Hecarim is maybe a little more dissuaded because the jungle matchup is just, it's an unfun one. Xin Zhao can walk into the jungle, he can very easily invade you. It's only really around level 6 in most Hecarim matchups where you can see a little bit of favor go towards the Hecarim. And I mean, for Lightside, plenty of options, and they're just going to give Sadie back the Jhin. And I mean, yeah, run it back, why not? And they're just going to pick up the Volibear because, like we said, Hecarim is a less favorable early game jungle matchup, so Victor can just pick up the Volibear. He had a very fine time on it last time, and this time around, Rate maybe eyeing up more of a 2v2 aggressive jungle mid duo if they do go for this LeBlanc. Often we don't, of course, talk about hovers as early, but when it comes to Topi, it's definitely something to consider. Felios also being potentially chosen, but actually the Twisted Fate slipped through this time, so they are going to give it to Topi. Twisted Fate, one of his core champions, a champion that he is very, very prolific on, very, very efficient at. And will they now, you'd imagine, what I want to see from Nomi is a weak side bottom laner, but the issue is they're on blue side, so now I more or less actually want to see priority. They're going to run back the Xayah a third time. Oh, it's definitely a decision I don't know if I'm too fond of. Yeah. Lightside, though, they are looking at that Xayah, they are looking at the Twisted Fate. What can they really do here for 5p? I mean, you could go for the Syndra if you want to play something more 2v2 orientated, but they're going to go for the Sylas because, I mean, yeah, you've got, a very powerful ultimate and Destiny Gate to steal away, and honestly, Crescent Guard and Xayah ultimate, not too bad either in terms of survivability tools, and it will now start to remove away champions from Arcane Teddy's pool. The Tryndamere moved away this time around. What will Rate go for? I imagine probably take away more touch champions. Right now, Lightside are heavily lacking in the engage department, but I think the issue is there are so many engage options that maybe you just start to ban away Svene's champion pool. But I said they will actually go for the Zilean, which honestly I don't mind the call out for. It would be very irritating to have to deal with Zilean, with a Sylas, a Volibear, and especially a Speedy Jhin at that, as Camille will be removed away here. So I'm expecting a tank pick from Svene, albeit does have counter pick R5, so definitely room to make something work there favorably on the top side. But yeah, I mean, right now, Lightside, I'm more confident in what they have for themselves, right? They've got Jhin and the Volibear, which have been both strong performers for Lightside. They've got 5p on Sylas, which is very, very strong at. But not only that, it's into the Twisted Fate. It's a matchup which typically has favored the Sylas for a little while now. And now Lightside, all they really have to do is pick an engage support, right? Go for something like that Leona if you really want to. Maybe you even prefer the Rakan in a situation like this. Going for something like Alistar, I think, could also work if you're expecting a melee engage support to come out from person. And it seems like we will get a beefy, no, actually last second stop away to the Rakan. There you go. A little bit more flexibility in the engage. I always like to see this champion, and it also works as a takeaway, of course, when you're looking at a potential Xayah Rakan lane.
So they almost completed. They save away the top lane, and even the blind picks for Sven so far have been working out versus Arcane Teddy. The Exodia card, the last Exodia card, has not been able to pull through versus Sven, so that's more than enough. And even though they now finally get a counter pick, it's going to be the Thresh yet again. So mostly the same picks. The only thing that is different is you get the Twisted Fate instead of the Syndra. I believe Syndra was bringing a lot of utility to the team and a lot of damage as well. So now you don't have a lot of magical damage. Do you bring more magical damage for Arcane Teddy to tip the scales, or do you go heavy on the AD?
What does he play then if he does? Like, what is it? Would be the Gwen maybe at best, but like blind picking Gwen into Svene, who probably have counter picks ready and available. Kennen maybe could have been an option for Arcane Teddy at best, but then you're giving Silas on a Kennen Orma, which just doesn't sound like a fun time. It will just be the Aatrox, and like you say, I think just lacking on damage in the later stages. A lot of utility and range play around with the gold card, and Svene just looks like he's going to play the kind of lane where doesn't really have to interact too much of Arcane Teddy, can maybe even get his own individual leads if he plays it right. If he does go for this Shen, just looking to supplement the rest of the map. As actually take that back, we'll go for something a little more selfish inside of that Renekton, looking to stand up to Arcane Teddy instead, and we'll maybe even see some sort of shut down towards the top side with that Renekton with the Volibear. It's a very strong 2v2 lane. In fact, we could actually see a whole bunch of skirmishing up in the top side from Lightside. This could be the one game where we might actually see a little bit of focus shift away from the bottom lane.
That would be the first time Victor would approach to the top side and give advantage to Sven instead of going to the bot side. But you know Sadie is one of those days. You know he's on one of those days. So even if you see like a big top priority, I would say, Sven, I will go there eventually, but first, let me go treat Sadie to another kill or two, because Novi has been caught out of position a lot of times, and if you have the Rakan, if you have the Volibear as well, that is an easy lane to try and get something through and try to take away Nomi early in the game before the Destiny takes effect. So this could be a bloody one. This could be the last one as well if Lightside are capable of demolishing Raid. The flower is not blooming today, Jamada. I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say it's very bold of Rate to effectively come into game, what could be their final game of Division 2 with almost the same composition, right? You've got basically, you know, two different solo laners, but still sticking with their guns with the Xin Zhao. With the Xayah, I think those are two champions as well, which they've just not been finding too much value with, right? With the Xayah, you want to try and, you know, punish the enemy laner with your range. It's just not really happened. You want to try and actually get things happening in the early game with the Xin Zhao, right? You want to be able to consistently secure early game objectives. It's not necessarily been happening either. It's a bold statement, stuck in their ways, it seems, coming into game 3 from game number 2 with a majority of their draft. But let's see if they can make it work, because again, you know, Lightside, they're coming into this with a completely different draft too.
This could be the one, everybody, so hold on to your seats. This is the third game out of the first match of playoffs, and there we go. We got the bird's eye of the rift. Everybody gathered on the top side from Lightside, looking for something. Are you guys going to invade or not? On the other side of the map, though, it is Wraiths trying to get a hold of something. You have the Thresh, you have the Twisted Fate gold card as well. Even Arcane Teddy would be a wonderful level 1 skirmish champion with the Aatrox, the triple Q. That would be more than enough, but they're going to invade. The problem was Lightside went to the top side and didn't brought any single wards to the bottom, so they have no idea that 5 members are there. But it seems like everybody is just leaving the grounds just to get some sort of vision of where Victor is going to be, and that should be more than enough for them to at least get the knowledge and information of where Volibear is standing.
Exactly. And right, like you say, go for that invade. Lightside, however, we're maybe expecting Rate to just go into the top side themselves on that invade. They will now get information that Volibear is starting up on this blue buff. But it will actually be end up not really mattering too much just yet. Born this way, technically matching the gank. And he's pulling this red buff down towards the bottom side. Is he going to level 2? Pings are actually coming down for it. Seems like they want to try and impact this 2v2 as early as possible. Gonna go for a level 2 gank.
The root is available. Sadie puts himself in an unfortunate position. He's not even going to flash. He's just going to take this one down. First blood finally being shed by Nomi.
Definitely the difference that Rate needed here after how these laning phases have gone. And it's just nice adaptation. A little bit of cheese, sure, but definitely the kind of cheese that was necessary to put them in a potential position where they can actually contest this 2v2 in the bottom side. But like you say, no flash blown, a lot of discipline there from Sadie as 5P actually walks into this. He has Victor behind him.
The lockdown is way too big, and they finally get themselves the one. So tying up the scores, even though it's a first blood for the bot side to get themselves 2 long swords, but in the mid lane, you're getting Silas ahead, so that is a dangerous one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just well played by 5P here. He just sells it so well. He just walks up. I'm not scared. What is potentially behind me? Well, he just walks through the lane. Setup is nice and easy. Born this way. Not able to get away from that. Now's Victor. Walks over this ward, sure, but the issue is... Okay, then he walks up as they actually even pick up Topi somehow. They walk up, I mean...
I'm not done. Sven is getting low, but the Conqueror comes into full effect. And even though you get the world ends, Arcane Teddy is not enough to take either of them. He's trying to pick one of them, but Spectre can just run away.
I'm at a loss for words right now, and actually they can... If the ward wasn't there... Yeah, if the ward wasn't there, that's not a suspect turn.
Oh, look at that damage. That's the press, the attack connected. Fatty P is being spotted by that single ward. Meanwhile, 500 HP is going to take this one. It's going to be Spectre level 3. It's going to lock down an Arcane 10, and the flash is pulled. Touch goes in, and with a slap of a feather, it takes the 4th one for Lightside.
Oh, it's an absolute disaster for 8, man. Lightside are playing this one out so well. I mean, I have to say, the initial level 2 gank 2 minutes ago from Born This Way, absolutely brilliant. It makes so much sense to go and shut down Sadie after having such strong performances in game 1 and game 2, but then goes into the mid lane. 5P just, I mean, it's like, oh, flowing Rakan, dog. I mean,
what? Is this a new skin when you see Rakan?
Ascended Rakan. I've never seen that bug before. That is a strange one. But yeah, that's how they picked up on Topi as well. Now Born This Way, waiting 5P. No flash available for Silas, but guess what Silas has in his back pocket? It's a volley bear. And Touch is also on the opposite side of the wall. Not sure if he spotted out at all, but now it's
it's a 3v3 though. Touch is there. There we go. They're going to collapse on Topi. The yellow card is going for Rakan. They're going to focus their damage on the support, which means Fatty P is going to take yet another one. Topi's running away, but the Kingslayer will be in effect. And there we go. The deadly flourish from across the board with the snipe. Person has a flash available. He's going to use it, but also they start the dragon. 1-6. Wraith is bleeding. The rose is red, but because it is bleeding constantly, Lightside see the light at the end of the tunnel, Jamada.
Wraith aren't bleeding, they're hemorrhaging. They're gold right now, 2,000 behind, and it's just the Lightside finding these very preferential skirmishes. I mean, it's both these teams lined up in the mid lane, looking for that mid lane play. Support, jungle, mid, all 3 on either side. And the issue is Touch, even though he gets gold carded down, I mean, there's just no damage to follow up yet.
Yeah,
nothing can be found, and this is the issue, right? I think the early game CC, some of the damage is definitely going to be there, so like 1 items, maybe 2 for Wraith, but the issue is before then, and even eventually into the hyper late game post then, I just feel like it's Lightside's to win, and right now winning it, they are, and quite substantially. I think at the moment, Wraith, they need to bail themselves out somewhere. I just don't know where they do it. In the top side, they're down over 10 CS. In the mid lane, down over 10 CS, and I mean 302 on the Silas as well. Probably got a mountain of gold. Not too much to spend just yet, but I mean, has the Ionians, has a couple of tomes as well. Up 1,000 gold individually, up 1,000 in the jungle, up 500 in the top lane. It's just so much gold, and sure, Nomi having a pretty good time in the bottom lane, but Sadie got level 2 ganked, level 1 ganked technically for the Jhin. It just doesn't really matter too much, and now...
What is this? Sven is at level 6. Born This Way was at level 3 when he got here. He just leveled up. Spectre gets caught. It doesn't matter. The stun is available. He can go for the blast cone. The knockup is there to slow him down, and the lantern is not taken away from Arcane Teddy. They don't trust themselves anymore.
No, they just don't. It seems like they're not willing to go in for that, and not only that, Touch is away from the bottom side again, and I love this adaptation, immediate adaptation from Touch, right? We've got a lane in the bottom lane where we're just not going to win the 2v2 anymore. We could have maybe, because we've been out laning Wraith in the bottom side. I'm just going to roam up with my jungler. I'm going to find picks like these. Lantern will give safety to Born This Way, but it's just not what you really want, as I actually think 5P had his Destiny Gate stopped by Topi.
Demana,
the Silas
look
didn't show
into the
up, but yeah,
jungle. 14 farm for Born This Way
oh
versus
my god, I didn't even realize.
41. That is the hardest you can see in terms of jungle. You're not supposed to be that far behind.
No, you're just not. And honestly, I've seen massive early game leads like this get turned around, but this one, there's something about the feel of this one.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
have a
too
feeling
sure.
in the back of your head.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Ray will actually reasonably turn this one around. They're gonna look for a dive, but Born This Way.
He's not healthy enough.
And yeah, it's Victor's level 6 on the top side. If Arcane Teddy goes forward once more for a dive, I mean, he wouldn't even have to.
Slice and Dice gets the stun. Arcane Teddy getting lower by the second. Almost doesn't even need Volibear to be there. I gotta say, everybody at NLC is thinking the same. Third seed is cursed. I don't know what is happening. And meanwhile, Lightside are showing up today with all their guns.
Yeah, they are indeed. Sven8 picks up the first play of his lane as well. Up almost doubled the CS of Arcane Teddy, approaching that number. 10 more creeps and he's there. Having an absolutely amazing game 1-to-1 anyway, but I mean, Lightside as a whole right now are just performing so well on the Herald. And you had to think there was a moment of brightness there, 4-8, when they started to slow down. Sadie, when they got the level 2 gank off, it just felt like, okay, adaptation is here. It's finally working. We're seeing Born This Way actually enter a lane before 10 minutes. But I mean, from that point onwards, it just feels like Lightside have had Rate's number. And part of this does definitely come down to the power of these champions in the early game, right? Silas, Victor on the Volibear, and Renekton, they are such strong skirmishers and definitely, you can say, stronger than their opponents in terms of the champions that Ray are running. But to run away with the game, 7-1, 3,000 gold, 9 minutes in, definitely feels quite bad. Now, the gold hasn't exponentially increased as much as that sort of first 6-ish minute skirmish, but you have to imagine with the Herald being picked up, Lightside, the way that they've been playing, they are going to find something to do very quickly, and they're going to look for a play to explode that gold lead even further into their favor.
I'm gonna ask production to reveal to me what sort of vision Lightside have facing Raid, because so far you see almost the entire map in favor of Lightside. There's no way you can approach any of these lanes without going through the enemy vision. On the side of Raids, there's no vision. Completely dark. Like the previous game, vision is not something they can control so far. And even though the bot side, and I'll ask you this, riddle me this. There's a Surrendered Dirk with a Caulfield's Warhammer on the inventory for Nomi, so is he actually deviating from Eclipse and going for something different, like a Dusk Blade or even a Prowler's Claw?
I mean, if he is, it doesn't make sense, I don't think. I think when you think about the itemization that Fight and Svenny are likely going to have, you probably want that percentage HP damage. I don't really feel like Prowlers is necessarily going to give him a little bit more. I mean, it's definitely tough to say. Like, the immediate spike is going to feel a little bit better on one item at most, but it's tough. I feel like the Eclipse will just give you so much more. Right? You got members diving in on you, the shield proc, a little bit of extra movement speed on that proc as well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. And also the tier is just being delayed so much, if there is even going to be a tier at this point, 11 minutes in.
I don't think so. Yeah,
it's not been picked up. I'm not too sure about Nomi's itemization in this game here. And that's
because this is the game that he needs to pop off.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, given the rate, this is not a leaf. This is an on-hit Zarya game. This isn't even a lethality Zarya game, to be honest with you either. So I'm not too sure. Really stuck on the hype of the pick here, as Born This Way has found an angle. The only issue is, look who's in that top brush.
The Destiny reveals the Rakan, but that's a beautiful grand entrance. Everything is going on top of it. The Renekton goes down. Yes, he does, but he gets the 1-for-1. He flashes away, and instantly Victor is there to try and help. But the Destiny revealed that Volibear was coming through, so they're not going to follow this one. But meanwhile, they get themselves a tier 1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, the mid lane tier 1. It's a 1-for-1 in a 3v2. Right, commit their global ultimate and 2 more ultimates on top of that to try and make that play work. And there's still a 1-for-1 where they lose a tower in the mid lane. It's just not going Rate's way right now. Lightside are playing superbly, and this is the kind of ceiling that we were maybe expecting come playoffs, you know, at the end of round robin 1 for Lightside, right? They were starting to sort of surpass a lot of the expectations that were laid upon them pre-season, come halfway through the split. And then the light side that maybe everybody was expecting Slide to show up in the second half of the season, where they were a little more inconsistent. They were looking like, yeah, that 5th, 6th place team. Right now, though, making Rate look silly across the map.
Wraith was a team that never was supposed to be out of playoffs. They always showed everybody that they were supposed to be here, one of the top 3 in Division 2. On the other side, Lightside only got in because it was a 3-way tie, and they secured themselves a position because of the other team's results. And they are the ones showing today. They are the ones that are saying, okay, we got a bad half of the split. Yeah, it was a tough split, but we deserve this, and we're gonna make it through. And playoffs are looking bright for Lightside. I don't mean to give a pun, but they're looking really bright so far.
Absolutely, and I mean, I said it, and I still stand to that point. Lightside were the worst performing team out of all 3 of those teams that could have qualified into playoffs, coming out of the back end of the regular split. Not only is it an objective fact, but even when you see the way they were playing, I think London definitely had a much stronger case. Even Domino maybe, but Domino also, I feel like, suffered a lot of the issues that Lightside also suffered. All right, here in this series today, they are dismantling Rate. Top 2 bomb. As Victor,
it is the Prowler's Claw as well, by the way.
Yeah, it is the Prowler's Claw, but I just don't. Maybe someone with more AD carry knowledge and build knowledge can tell me that, but like, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't feel like that is the itemization choice to go for here in this game.
I understand the idea that if you have 4 members that are going to dive you and maybe using the Prowler's Claw to put yourself into safety before using the Storm, but I don't see it happening as Destiny is on the other side, and Fatty P steals the ultimate away from Rate, almost secures himself another one. Bounties out of it. What? Twisted Fate! You're not allowed! The house doesn't always win if you do it like that! Born This Way comes in with the guard, and Sven just blocks the death sentence, looks at the enemy and says, the death sentence is on you!
Oh man, Arcane Teddy, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure they even want this fight still. Rate could get turned on. If they just sit in a bush, there's so much burst damage from Lightside, and now they start to realize they sit in that pixel rush for a moment to wait and see as just about everybody from Rate was pulled to the top side. Sadie is alone here on the bottom lane. Doesn't look like he'll get the tower. Objective bounty's kicked in that 14-minute mark. Maybe it's something that Rate can look towards, but honestly, if I was a Rate fan, I'd be feeling like the emote that Born This Way flashed up, Sad Cat. As Lightside continue to stay relatively strong, 5,000 gold up. Now, there is something to be said of the potential scaling and interactions of these 2 comps, because if Lightside take too long with this game, I think things like the Aatrox can scale into this game quite well. It's 4 melees after all into an Aatrox that want to move forward into him. He's going to be fine with that. Twisted Fate can eventually become a gold card bot and keep people at bay with rapid fire cannon, but again, I just feel like the damage just might not be there in the extended trades, because Nomi honestly Fali's Aya as well. It's all about the burst, it's all about those short sort of, you know, 2 feathers out on auto attack route, maybe at best, pull those feathers back consistently. It's not about all of the extra DPS, and I'm just where's the tier? I don't know if I should be more mad at this or not. Like, it's mind-boggling in my head that we are seeing the Falizaya into this comp personally, but we'll see. Touch caught out. Should have a secondary.
Is there, pulls himself with the flay, and look at Nami use the Prowler's Claw to amplify the damage and also get himself into a better position, but that's not enough to get Sadie down. Meanwhile, they get the Edel, but on the other side, this is going to be the 3rd Drake, by the way, in favor of Lightside.
Yeah, and I mean, this is Ocean Soul Point with, you know, a full bruiser composition, where a Rate only really have burst damage, where they're gonna have to dump everything into one key target in hopes of killing anybody, and if they don't, now Ocean Soul is going to start to kick in and things will start to get nasty, and there's a lot of sustain options too on the light side and through all of those champions. So I really want to see some executioners start to come out from Rate, some anti-healing in any capacity. Arcane Teddy already has it for the laning phase, but he's going to need a little bit more of it very, very soon. And actually something I did pick up on somehow is that Sveni brought the Ignite into this match. I didn't even see it. Took me 17 minutes. Definitely does play into why he was so far ahead, most definitely. But
it's a pressing attack. It's mostly about, okay, I'm gonna win this. I don't care how, I'm gonna win this.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it worked out for sure.
It did.
And right now,
this could be a dive.
It should be a dive.
Destiny is on. They're not going to follow it through. No, he's on the bot side, so that's not going to be useful. Sven gets the kill. Gets a little bit below half HP, but that's more than enough to take the kill and still stay in lane, as Fatty P will be able to follow him if he goes away. If he goes anywhere. Hijack is available, so Destiny could be stolen away. Is born this way now, faced off with his duty to clean up. Cleaning service on the top lane. But it's mostly about getting himself back into this game. 78 minions as the Shin Zhao in the jungle. 70 minutes in. That is not a good one. And Twisted Fate was away from the line. Oh, Bard this way. Didn't even see that there were two of them. And finally, Destiny comes into the top side. Sven is now going to get clustered. And look at that quickness. Beautiful charm goes in. Gets everybody to safety. Teleport. The turret is there to protect them. So they have to run through the line if they want to steal anyone.
They should be fine. They should be fine. 5P's teleport was quite late. He was picking up that tier 2 in the bottom lane, though. Pick it up he did. And I mean, again, I'm just... Collector? Ah? I'm so confused by Nomi's build at the moment. All right. We're...
Is this a lower Dominic's regard afterwards when Infinity Edge third to get critical damage and lethality at the same time? I don't know.
But why? Like, at that point, just go Gale Force into Lord Doms into IE, right? Like, it just makes pick up lethal tempo. Go regular AD carries. I am completely baffled by Nomi's choice of items in this game. And whilst it might not necessarily be a factor right now,
touch. Oh, he had the quickness. He wanted it because Fatty P comes in with the Destiny stolen away, gets himself with the stopwatch. Arcane 10. He goes there. Look at that sustain from the Kingslayer.
Kingslayer indeed, trying to slay the world ender. Had to flash out. Did use the Zhonya's. Sadie used as a taxi by touch, and there was no ultimate still. Quickness wasn't back up from that topside play. If it was, you imagine somebody from Rate probably dies. As speaking of dying, potentially, Kern Cool. Second shot, third shot, just gonna brush.
Nomi looked into the past like, oh no, oh no,
not again. I don't want to be played. But yeah, maybe I'm getting too hung up on it. And maybe there is something of value here, but when you just look at the fact that Svene has a chain vest, Bramble Vest is there for Zvictor, and there's a Zhonya's already there for 5P. All of the lethality that has been picked up by Nomi has just been like invalidated already.
Oh, Essence River now. I know what is forming in that head. Let's just see how it works out. He's looking into the future. I don't know if it's going to be a bright one, but Lightside brightening up their days. 37,000. Tell me.
Okay.
Because we have 1 minute for Dragon, so we need to prepare that. But tell me.
Sure. So if we're talking about the Dragon here, I mean,
look at the vision.
In theory, Nomi is actually, the most itemized champion on the Rift, with the exception of 5P, who has those 2 items on. Like you say, the vision is just not there, and all Nomi be able to get done. Has flash, not going to be able to use it. Prowler's cure, claw, rather, not able to get him anywhere. Maybe need to cure for the build of this game.
Just in mind, this is an easy take. 30 seconds for Soul. He's going to revive specifically when the Dragon revives, so it's going to take him at least 15 to 20 seconds to get there. That is not going to hold on that long. That is not a Dragon that is going to hold on. That is not even an Elder. And look at Lightside. They're way too ahead. They have the vision. They have the control. There's nothing Raid can do. Ever since they begun this series, it has been completely darkness through the entire map. I don't know why, but there's darkness all around. The control of vision from Lightside has been way too good throughout this series.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that when it comes to Lightside and how they've played out a majority of this series, they've just been so dominant in sort of skirmishes and positioning when it comes to, catching waves up high and then just rotating into jungle and saying, okay, this is our jungle camps now, this is our vision now, we're going to make sure you never get to walk into this side of the map. Speaking of walking into a side of the map, I don't really feel like Svene has...
It's a 1v3, but I don't know if you can take him out so easily. Slice and dice. Ignite is available. He takes the first one. Looks for the second. I'm going to eat you alive. Sven takes the double kill. He's looking for even more. He's looking further beyond. He goes 1v5. He doesn't care. Sven is still alive somehow. Spectre comes in. And the Thunder Clash flashes. It actually predicts the future, but that's not what's gonna happen. Arcane Teddy is left to shambles, is left alone. Even though you go through the wall, there's no way out of this one. The first one, the second one. Oh, he's way too tanky, boy. Not even close.
He's bowled it as a...
What?
He teleported somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know, Archer. I simply do not know. But what I do know is Ray are likely going home after the Baron is secured here by Lightside. And it's just such a turnaround of performance. I mean, for both teams, it's a tale, really, of Ray, who are looking to be so dominant moving into playoffs, and more times than not, we were excited already preliminarily in expecting a Rate versus Flung matchup, but Lightside, out of what was undoubtedly a disappointing back half of the regular split, have come into the series today and look like a completely different team. And Svenne, with the Ocean Soul regeneration, with Gore Drinker, with all of the base healing in Renekton's kit, it's just an unkillable demon god. As Touch comes in over the wall and provides a little more shielding and healing. And let me just say, if this Infernal Chains doesn't just barely drag, I mean, I don't know how it drags Svenne back in, to be honest with you. I felt like he was out of it. We might.
You don't fight a crocodile in the river. You don't.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's poor decision.
Yeah, you don't. As a
oh wait, there's fight.
Replay. Yeah, person dead.
There was a person. There's no longer a person.
Is also likely dead. The hopes of Ray, I think, are crumbling by the seams here. I don't know if they can really get back into it at all. I don't think they can at all. Lightside with a clinic as VP.
Clutch its moment. He goes golden at this point. There's the ultimate coming in from Volleyball. But VP still takes a kill. The Kingslayer keeps him alive. Sandy's on the killing spree. And Arcane Teddy goes down. It is Lightside taking the bait. It is Lightside with the dream on their hands and a conviction to make it a reality, Jamada.
It is indeed. And Lightside say, be damned expectations, be damned how we played in regular season. It's all about playoffs. We slipped in barely, yes, but we are going to make our mark heard, and they knock out third place Ray.
What a story to tell everyone about. Tell everyone this day, Freeman fought off versus Raids and took them down. I have no idea what happened. Lightside were monumental today, and we couldn't see Raids for what they used to be throughout the split. You know, sometimes you may say during the split, oh, they had a bad day or they had a good day, regardless of where you're looking. Lightside just obfuscated, and it's a series. It's no longer the best of one. You have time to adapt. They didn't, and Lightside just eat them alive.
Yeah, and I feel like even to a degree there was, there's a lot of adaptation from Lightside. So game they had 3 different, very wildly different compositions, which they piloted to very great success. And like you said, the lack of adaptation from Ray was definitely, I think, one of the key things which have lost them this series today. I think they were just too stuck in their ways. Particularly, I think the Xayah pick, it just had to go by game 3. Like, there's no way that you're going Xin Zhao Xayah 3 games in a row when you have things like, the Aphelios up still. You have things like that you can maybe lean on, such as the MF, which, is a little bit more out there right now, maybe on this patch, but still very strong and something that they could have potentially looked at as an option. All of the jungle options were there. Even mid lane picks, I think Topi still actually had a pretty good performance here today from the mid lane. But in general, just as a team, again, it just felt like there was no venom, there was no bite, there was nothing that really screamed out to me that in the early game Rate were looking to take it to Lightside, a team which had traditionally been, for the last 8, 9, 10 games, a very inactive early game team, and it just allowed Lightside to effectively pilot their way to 3. 2 pretty easy wins, but 1 game, yes, contested very heavily. I think, Lightside, not only do they deserve to have now, having made this upset possible, made it to playoffs, but deserve to be going forward into the lower bracket.
And they move on that lower bracket. They are comfortable right now. I would like to know who they want to fight against, because obviously we have Flung and we have Lucent afterwards. And I do believe we're going to have the interview. I don't know if we toss it to a break before we have the interview or if we do it straight away.
I would imagine a break. Don't worry.
Okay, so let's do a small break and we will be right back.